Hey everybody, welcome back to another video where Barron and I are building our very own off-grid home with our very own hands. In this video, we cut and sealed our massive natural wood beams for our roof and rented a heavy-duty machine to get them up in the air. I had never seen anything like this before, and maybe you haven't either, so keep on watching.
Alright, in your drive chain.
We went back again to the lumber pile to pick out 2 logs to use as beams for our roof.
This saw is just a bigger saw.
The full logs are around 40 feet long, and our beams require only 23 feet each. So after checking them all out, looking for 2 that matched as close as possible, we cut our 23-foot beams and saved the rest of the logs to cut for lumber for the rest of our home. We bought 2 full Engelmann spruce logs at $200 a piece, making this trailer full of raw wood cost us only $400. We took the logs over to James's mill and propped up the smaller end a few inches so that we'd be able to skim a flat piece off the top of the log, allowing our future roof purlins to sit flush on top. James has reiterated a few times that working with completely circular lumber is pretty hard.
No, you're good. You can lower it in.
After loading them back onto James's trailer, we took the logs to our place to get ready to clean and seal.
Exactly like we thought it would.
Look where you parked her, man.
Sweet.
Genius.
I think we could have lifted those by hand, Jimmy.
Go ahead. We got a lot of old man strength going on over here.
Our intended aesthetic for our home is to keep a raw look, retaining curves, edges, bumps, and colors that naturally appear on the materials we use, reminding us and everyone who visits that we built this home ourselves. For this reason, we chose to keep as much bark on the logs as possible, scraping off any super loose bits with a scraper. Any bark that was too hard to scrape off, we left on the log. Barron used a sawzall to smooth off the major knots in the wood. Then we got out the angle grinder with a disc of 80 grit sandpaper and used it to smooth out cuts, bumps, and edges of the remaining bark to create a smooth transition from bark to bare wood.
So, however you want it to look, we can have it look. You know?
Yeah, but this is all fine. Like, it's not supposed to be smooth.
No.
After that, we put an 80 grit disc on a less powerful vibrating sander, which helped blend away the sanding marks from the angle grinder. Next, we poured a bucket full of boiled linseed oil to seal the logs. Doreen advised us to seal the logs while they were on the ground versus while they were up in the air. Genius. We would have used her typical blend of equal parts linseed oil, polyurethane, and paint thinner to seal the logs, but it was Labor Day and all the stores were closed. So we may do that later on if we want a bit more of a sheen and protection, but the linseed oil alone turned out great, bringing out the natural reds in the wood.
There's old James. We're borrowing a skid steer, well, renting it, or not a skid steer, a telehandler. We need a telehandler to put these beams up. And luckily, James knows a local guy that has one, which is the story of everything. James knows a local guy that has everything. So James is gonna drive the thing home because it's too big to put on a trailer, or any of our trailers at least. We're hauling at a steady like 7 miles an hour. Here he comes. I wonder if he's having the most fun. I think I'm gonna ask him if he wants me to drive that, and I'll meet him at the house. James is having fun driving, so I'm gonna go home and take a bath, and then we're gonna cut everything and get started in the morning. And he'll probably be there, I don't know, it might take him 30 minutes to get to our place. But he said I stink, so I need to go home and take a bath. Here I go. Oh, it's cold. Wow, it's pretty cold. We just filled this up with well water about an hour ago. It's pretty chilly. No more stinky, James. I'm gonna go take my bike and see if he wants me to trade off with him and drive the machine the rest of the way here.
Heck yeah!
Well, it didn't go fast. He said that right.
Not built for speed.
Well, he's got 4 gears, but it wouldn't go faster than third. So in just third
Like it
gear,
won't pull in fourth either?
just burr.
Okay, this chart is the table for spruce round timber beams. And according to this chart, a 23-foot span, we have a 500-pound per foot allowable load. And that's a 15-inch log. So if we get a 15-inch log on the small end, it will bear 500 pounds per foot the whole 23 feet. So we'll be well within the snow load of our area. I get the feeling like people, especially that are in construction beams, we're not using stamped lumber. It's like we're just doing this kind of just pulling figures out of the air. We're not.
Well, people just assume that everybody's an idiot. Like they don't give anybody any grace. It's just like, oh, they didn't think this through. That's like every single time that we do anything, that's what happens. So
Well, we don't need to accommodate those. How many people are there that have those kind of comments year for year?
like when we installed our wood stove, installed our wood stove, it was just chaos.
Really?
This has never been done before. You don't know what you're doing. You're gonna burn the place down. It's like, okay, it's a good thing that we thought about this a little bit, because otherwise we'd be dead, you know?
And besides, if we burn this down and we burn ourselves up,
Right.
hey,
Doesn't
then we're
hurt
such
you.
sorry people, good riddance, right?
We opened gifts at our wedding. We opened all the gifts at our wedding.
That's part of
very-
the culture. So
It's kind of changed. It's starting to change now. They don't do that as much now, but always.
when we were there, it was
Yeah.
it was the way you did it. You
Yeah.
did business.
Oh, okay.
So
Because most people would open them afterward.
That's
right.
right.
But at our
Yeah.
culture, in our culture, no, you open the gifts at the wedding.
I mean, he was antsy-pantsy, the whole time.
I'm wanting to get it done fast.
Yes, yes, yes,
Fast
yes.
and efficient, like always.
Yes, so we get over there and start opening gifts, and I'm laid back, and I just want to enjoy it. Savor every moment. No way, rip, fast as possible through those gifts and open them up. And I still have this pan. He was zipping through it with a knife, and he just cut a big old long groove right on the bottom of my pan.
And
I
we
couldn't
were
figure
out
it
of there.
out.
The people had
I
hardly
couldn't figure it
got
out.
to the point of catching their breath after eating their meal. We were gone. It was so funny.
A telehandler is called a telehandler because of the telescoping arm. James has a wheel loader that's absolutely strong enough to lift these logs, but without that telescoping arm, there'd be no way to lift the logs over top of our walls and set them into place.
Oh yeah. Woo!
This first beam is the one that we cut at the same time as our wood headers a few weeks ago. It's Douglas fir and is extremely strong. We needed this log in place first as the seat for our 2 spruce beams.
Pull yours towards you a little bit. There you go.
Good thing these walls are filled.
Yeah.
I keep coming into every video saying, this was the most intense moment so far. This was the most intense moment so far. But, you know, we're building a house from scratch. Barron and I have little to no experience, so yeah, every new step becomes the most intense moment so far.
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
I know. Let's just chill for a
That's
second.
nice.
I haven't told you about it, but after our very first concrete pour, I went into the car where no one could see me and I cried. I didn't put it in that video because I kind of felt like a weenie. Barron was the one doing all the work, pouring the concrete, so why would I be the one crying? I'm not trying to hide the stress of all of this. I'm just constantly, every day, going through mental Olympics with insecurities of my lack of knowledge and also excitement for all that I'm learning at the same time. There is so much going on constantly in our hearts and our minds. There's a lot of pressure and a lot at stake, and a lot of incredible things happening. So it seems like the best way for me to release all of that is to cry. And I bring it up now because after this first beam was in place, I went back into the car where no one could see me and I cried again.
Down!
Hey!
We gotta have like a better source of communication.
I'm not gonna do anything by voice. You have to get I have to see you. I can misunderstand you. Somebody could get hurt. I'm not doing anything unless I can see what's going on.
We notched the beams a little bit to be able to securely fit in place. Both of these logs have a natural taper like any tree does, the small side being around 15 inches and the large side being around 22 inches. Because the peak of the roof goes up away from you, you put the larger end of the log up, giving your eye the illusion that the beam is even. If you put the small end up and the larger end down, the taper will be far more noticeable and might make it look even more obvious than it is. Given the 7-inch taper in the logs, it looks like we cut way more off the large end's notches, but both ends have the same amount of meat within each notch. Dylan, our wonderful on-call architect friend who built the 3D model of our house, advised us to put metal bands around each end of the logs to prevent any possible splitting, and I think that's going to look really cool.
Oh yeah! Wow!
Woo! Hey, watch out.
Alright.
Well, it's trying. Notch? Or do we want it just where it's at?
You can actually fix that. That's doable. Let's leave it that way with the wood on that side.
We gotta come towards Barron, like.
Swing the arm this way. Yep.
Whoa!
That's awesome. That's awesome there. I love that. What we did on these ends is when they were far away like that, I just kind of tapered this so that it looked like I was tapering it into it instead of trying to make it fit. You know what I mean?
Like tapered in the stucco?
I just tapered it back, my beam.
So everything is looking quite a bit messy. It's really pointless to try to keep up with the mess as it happens because it's constant. It's never ending with all the new steps that we take to build the house. The beams have especially made things a little bit hectic. We can't easily park cars up here like we used to, so I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and just make it a little bit nicer so that the next steps of building will be just a little bit easier. Elsa, cleaning? I know.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next one.